Hello and welcome to this tutorial of how to animate basic objects using AutoKey. Okay, let's say I had a teapot, but I wanted it to look like it was pouring an object. Okay, so first, choose the starting position of your object, which will be about here. Select AutoKey, which is this. And you drag to the frame rate. Now something important to know is 30 frames, about 30 frames equals 1 second. So this is probably 1 point something seconds. So you want to choose, like, let's say in 1 1/3 of a second, you'd just select your object and like make it look like it was pouring actually, like this. And now if you go back, deselect AutoKey, you want to make sure that when you're done you deselect AutoKey, or else if you make a tiny movement it will ruin the animation. And there, it looks like it was actually pouring. But what if you wanted to add a delay timer right here? What if you wanted to add a delay timer and then all of a sudden made it go back? Here it could be, how long do you want your delay timer? Let's say right here. And you don't want to move it just a teeny bit. You don't want to be like, that's how I'm going to waste a move. You just want to press on set key, which will put a move. And then you could just make it orbit back to its original place, which is right here. Now if you look at this animation, it's a very simple animation, a teacup pouring and then going back. Now of course you want to have a little more delay than this, but also if you want to change how long it is, you can change the end time with some speed effects. Like if I make it 1/4, it will be very slow. You see this? It will be also like laggy if you say it, like a frames per second drop or something. So like 1/2 is good, maybe 1 if you wanna. But you can also change it to frame ticks or minutes, seconds, and ticks. So like right now this is on 3.16 seconds. Like right now I could change this to be 9 seconds. 9.16 seconds. And then as you can see, it will be like time. But you really don't want to make it this big if you're going to make a soft animation which you want to render quickly. Now let's say you wanted to render this. This is actually, right now if you render it, it will only render one image, which is not what you want. So let's change this. Let's go right here into our render setup. And you see it selects single. Make sure you go to active time segment 0 to 100, or however much frames it starts and ends with. Here, let's go into, you don't want to have it super big, especially if it's an animation. If you have a computer like not very good. But if you don't have like a very good computer and you want like let's say you want HD, this is like super HD, but let's say you want it to be, I forgot which setup we use, but you basically want to find a setup that's small like this one to produce 480p I think. And here's like some objects I like, render hidden geometry. If you have some hidden geometry, if you want to render it, you can. And here now this is just gonna render, but it's not gonna save the file anywhere. So you wanna, so when render output, you see you cannot check save file. You have to press just files, desktop, and you have to choose a format, like let's say AVI, and let's save this as teapot. Oopsie, I misspelled. And now you will see that you have some encoders, and if you choose a different encoder, you can mess around with the quality, which I think you should just leave it on the one I recommend, and then just press on OK. Now, if you uncheck this, it will not make any changes. Like let's say I wanted to make a test render, but not overwrite that file. I can uncheck this, make a test render, and be like, okay, that's a good one, and then you can check save file again, and then overwrite it. And here you have some assigned render, but here's like some other stuff that will make it look very nice, like motion blur and stuff, if you know how to use those. But But for this, let's just press on render. But we kind of took a horrible view. Now it's rendering very fast because, of course. And here you can get some stuff here, like total animation, frames, and last frame time, and then like time remaining right here. Now this is of course a very simple animation, but like for the domino ones, if you're rendering on a computer like this, then don't expect it to be very fast. It will be very slow. Now let's say I hated that one, and let's say I just added a sphere. Let's change it so you know which one it is. And let's kind of change the camera view a little. So let's pretend that's the cup. Now, let's say you want to do a test render. You want to uncheck save file and then press on render. Your rendering sequence has no assigned file. Frames may be lost. So that's how you could do a test render instead of overwriting the file. Because what sometimes happens is you'll overwrite the file accidentally. So now you want to overwrite it. So now we could be like yes. And now it will actually overwrite that old file we made when the teapot was just falling. I hope this video has made sense, and I hope you get to, because if you know AutoKey and you start messing around with it, you will you'll notice that you do not have to use the scale tool. You could change the segments of it, like let's go here, and you could change the segments to like this, and this will actually work. It works with settings. And if you play it, you might notice that sometimes there's like a weird red tick around it, which is interesting, like there and there. But yeah, and don't mind this. This button won't do anything unless there's of course dynamic objects. But I hope this tutorial has helped, and I'll see you next time. This is a very basic tutorial, and yep, I hope to see you next time.